Hi, I'm Gunjan, and today we are going to look at a data set containing Air BnB data for New York, and we are going to analyze the data for the year 2019. We are not just going to look at data, rather we are going to visualize the data in form of bar graph, histograms, and a scatter plot. Let's get to it. As first step, import pandas as pd, import matplotlib.pyplot as plt, import seaborn as sn. As usual, we are going to create a data frame where we would be storing our data set. So pd.read csv, and the file name is airbnb underscore nyc underscore 2019 dot csv. We are going to look at the data, and this is the data. We have several columns. Now we want to plot the graph for the neighborhood group, and we want to see what is the count of listing in each neighborhood group. For that, we are going to use sn, that's the seaborn library, and the method here is count plot. The data that we want to see is the neighborhood group, and that is going to be our x-axis. So x is equal to neighborhood group, data is equal to listings plt.show. So here we have generic bar graph representing the neighborhood group and the count of listing in those areas. Next, we want to have prices displayed on our y-axis. For that, we are going to take the same, put it here, and y is equal to price, data is listing, and this time we don't want the count plot method, rather we want the bar plot method. And if we do shift enter, we are able to see the data. The black line that you see in the center, that is the confidence indicator, and since we have a lot of data, so this is the confidence indicator which is displayed. So right now I'll not be covering confidence indicator, but what we need to do is we need to remove these black lines. So what I'm going to do is, to my piece of code, I'm going to remove confidence indicator. It's false, and that's removed. Next, we want to add a histogram for the same set of data for the prices. For that, I need to import an additional library, that is import numpy as np, and I have plt as my library, and I will be using the hist method where I'll be defining my x-axis and the y-axis. So the data will be coming from my data frame listings, and I want to look at prices. I want to define the label that will be displayed on the x-axis. So plt.x label, and it's a method, so we can call it price in US dollars. Next, we are going to do plt.show. So it does not identify price because I have added an additional bracket. Here you go. So we have the data the histogram is represented here, but it does not make sense to me to have the x-axis in the range of 0 to 10,000. Rather, I would want to have the range as 0 to 1100. And for that, what I need to do is I need to define the bins. Bins is equal to, and I'll be using the numpy because there is a numerical data which I want to limit the range, and I'll be using np dot a range method, and a range will be taking 3 input, the leftmost, the rightmost, and the difference. Here you go. So you have 0 to 1100, and we can see the range of data much better represented. Next, we want to use the same set and display the scatter plot. Let's go here. And instead of hist, I'm going to use scatter method. My x-axis is listings price. I'll be removing the bins, and I'll be using y is equal to listings. Here I want to use another column, number of reviews, and I will define a y-axis. So it will be y label, and I'm going to call it number of reviews. Here it is, the scatter plot. Still, it does not make much sense because the range is pretty wide. I don't want the range to be until 10,000. So I'm going to define the range here, and for that I'm going to change the existing piece of code plt.xlim 0 1100, shift enter. So now my data is represented from 0 to 1100, but I don't like the size of the scatter. Rather, I want to change the size of scatter. So here in my first line of code, that is where I've used the scatter method, I can do s is equal to 5, shift enter, and the size of the scatter is reduced. Thank you.